You might need to get a flower when it first opens. And then you need to get, because it might be, that's where the medicine is in the flower.
Wow.
So that's why there's these specific times. And like, if you're right, 9 a.m. is this very short window, but you just learn that. And I would be willing to bet that that might be because there's a certain something with a flower, something that's flowering, or something that's budding, or something that's just opening up at that time of the day.
This episode of Grounded in Maine is sponsored by ESG Review. ESG Review magazine is published quarterly in February, May, August, and November, and is available for free in print and digital formats. ESG Review is devoted to environmental, social, and governance strategies, technologies, and investments. ESGreview.net is updated every Wednesday with 8 new stories and is home to feature articles, news items, and more. Visit esgreview.net to stay informed and help us spark the collaboration and awareness needed to develop sustainable economies and communities around the world.
There's a place where there's no trouble, no more pain, no more struggle.
Grounded in Maine podcast is an open conversation about how we show up for the world. I started this podcast out of a desire to learn new ways to be sustainable because the word sustainability is big. It can be overwhelming, and I just wanted to learn, different ways to try to be part of the solution and not feel like it's too late. So I'm talking to people who are doing different things and learning so much. I hope you are too. Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy Fagan, and my guest today is Jane Barlow Christensen. And Jane she's an herbalist, and she's not a new herbalist. She's been doing this for a little bit, but she also grew up in it, which is super cool. So Jane, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Amy. It's always nice to connect with like-minded people. So thank you.
Yes. And so you guys, if you're on YouTube, I'm going to show this because Jane sent me this book, Be Your Own Shaman, because she is an herbalist, and this is a hardback book, which just blew my mind, and it is beautiful. And we were just talking before we started recording because I'm very curious about herbalism and eating things in your yard and stuff like that. I have a friend who, last year she was on MasterChef as they like to bring new people in every so often to do different things, and so she eats things out of her yard, and like she brought that into her character on the show, and she wrote a book about foraging and stuff like that. So I have a lot of friends who I've had a lot of exposure. Oh, there she is. But I don't absorb a lot. So I'm very curious about it, and I'm always very interested. And so I was saying that I found what I thought was plantain outside of my chicken coop, and it's very, very happy. So I was looking in the book to see if I could find it, to see what I could learn about it. Because this is a really cool book. So if you guys are interested in foraging or herbs or something like that, check out Be Your Own Shaman, because it will tell you, the proper name, and then the common names, and then, how you would use it, stuff like that. But also, like what I was telling Jane is the best time to collect it, which was fascinating to me. So I'm going to let you start talking now, but can you just explain why there's a specific time that's best for that?
Yeah, it's actually really, really important. This is a pretty standout part of my childhood because my dad was a botanist and a medicinal botanist. So what made him tick was what makes plants and herbs medicine for humans, because there's different properties. But one of the things that we used to do, if we were driving somewhere, my dad would see a plant on the side of the road that he would want to teach us about. If it was in just the right season or the bloom or whatever, we would pull over and we'd all, scramble out, and he would teach us. But the thing is people don't realize that sometimes when you harvest a plant, say the flowers and the leaves are the part with the medicine in them. Well, it needs to maybe be on that particular plant after the sun has burned all the dew off. So they need to not be anywhere wet. Or it might be it's a root, like a dandelion root or an astragalus root, or most root medicines or plants that where their properties are in the roots need to be harvested in the fall when the top of the plant has already died, because then all the concentration can be now in the roots.
Mhm.
So there's a time of day, there's a time of year, and it's like if you think about people who are generational, look at indigenous people with medicine, the medicine man and the medicine woman, and the person who you would go to and they would pass their wisdom down. This is how most of the world still takes care of themselves, and us in the West, we've gotten off track. But this is where the wisdom of like what I got from my dad was it's really rare. But there is a season. It's like eating your root vegetables in the fall. We have potatoes and carrots and beets and all these root vegetables. The time to eat them and store them is in the fall, and then eat them in the winter as well, because they're nourishing for us when it's the winter.
Mhm.
And then in the spring you have all, your spring lettuces and all the stuff and all the, so foods come in season, and so do herbs.
For a reason. Yeah.
For a reason. And it's a wisdom that once you kind of hear that, you go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So instead, now we can get, bananas every single day of the year, no matter what time of whenever it is.
Right.
So, there's a season, there's a reason, but there's also, like, I believe things like having a greenhouse with your medicinal herbals in there actually can be a very powerful way to take care of yourself as a modern human. So yeah.
That's really interesting. Sure. That makes sense. And so it's interesting to me, I'm going to go back to the collection time, but like I noticed, and I can't remember what the other plant was, maybe I don't know, but like the plantago, different than the plantain we talked about.
Yeah.
The best time to collect it is 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I remember there was another plant that I was looking at that said 9 a.m. Like that's not a very large space. Like, so, but it matters between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Like you can't just go and plant and pick all of your medicinal herbs or medicinal plants at the same time.
Right. Well, you might need to get a flower when it first opens. And then you need to get, because it might be that's where the medicine is in the flower.
Wow.
So that's why there's these specific times. And like, if you're right, 9 a.m. is this very short window, but you just learn that. And I would be willing to bet that might be because there's a certain something with a flower, something that's flowering, or something that's budding, or something that's just opening up at that time of the day.
And I have this great visual of I mean, I've never seen a picture of your dad, but like you're, just like, ooh, you need to see this plant. And then, would he do it like when it's flowering or when it's not flowering? Like this is the immature and then this is the mature. Like that is so cool.
No, it was amazing. In fact, so my family is big. I'm second oldest of 14 kids. And so when I would say we would pull over, or he would take us up into the mountains to go camping or hiking or whatever.
It's a big vehicle.
It's not only big, but we were also stacked upon each other. And this was before seatbelts were a law or a thing. So we would sometimes be in a car or vehicle way too small for all of us, but there were kids on laps and all this stuff. And the interesting thing is we not only would he teach us about this, it never felt like we were being lectured to. Like he never sat us down and was like, this is the botanical name and this is the common name and this is the time of year you use it. It always was just simply a part of our life, and it was just integrated. And my dad didn't even do that purposefully. It was just, this is what made him him, and we just were the beneficiaries of it. So it's a very cool thing.
Well, and he got very excited about it, clearly.
Oh, clearly.
Very passionate about it. And that passion, you can't help but take that in, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now, so you're the second oldest of 14. Are all the other siblings, did they stick with this? And did you stick with this, or you were like, no, I'm going to do something different? Or were you like, I'm going to keep this?
Yeah, so growing up with it, of course, it's part of, you just learn to say, I'm going to open the cupboard and get valerian because I can't sleep, or that was part of it. But then almost every one of us, when we grew up, we got married or left the house, whatever, almost all of us fell off the wagon. Like we started, like I ate bad food. We never had, we never ate junk food and processed food. My mom always made homemade bread. And when you're cooking for that many people and you also have this
Yeah, for the buy.
lifestyle,
Yeah.
right? And the lifestyle is I'm going to feed my kids from the earth because this is what they did. Do you feel like as a person that grows up that way, you feel like you're deprived, which is, it's kind of silly, but you think, oh, so during my 20s, I ate fast food, I drank Diet Coke, I didn't eat clean. But then what started happening is I started getting some health issues. I started getting constipated, my digestion was messed up.
Hmm.
I started not feeling good. Thankfully I never had any serious health problems. But then I had my boys, I have two boys, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. I need to go back to what I was taught.
Mhm.
And so all my siblings, almost all of them, went through the same process. My youngest brother is now almost 43. So now we're all adults, way adults, middle age and up, So I'm in my mid 60s, so I'm up there too. But all of us have come back. All of us have come back to our roots, and we talk about it all the time how grateful we are that my
That
that
you
my
had that education growing up. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so it's just we fell back into it naturally. And so my boys are totally into it. My grandkids who are 12 and 14 they have an herbal apothecary at their house. And they reach for it. It's so cool.
I
It's
love
so cool. Yeah.
it. And so, I mean, yeah, thinking about your upbringing, that's just so lucky. Like
I
you're so
know.
lucky. And
I know.
to know what good health feels like, and to, not, I just think of folks that didn't grow up with that, and how, they don't know the other side.
Yeah.
They don't know that you actually feel better when you eat better, and or they don't have that education, which is um it's super unfortunate, and we've got to get the word out about
Yeah. Well, you know what I think, Amy? I think that this is really why my goal right now is just to help educate people and inspire people, because even though it can be difficult, health is really simple. If you give your body the right tools, this biology of ours responds so quickly. And even though, like I said, one of my favorite things to say is health is simple. It's not, I'm not saying it's not difficult. Some of these things are not, there's a learning curve there. You have to use courage. You have to say, I'm going to trust peppermint tea to help with my digestion, or whatever it is. But our bodies are so smart and we are so resilient that when we start getting Mother Nature back into our lives, even just cleaning up our nutrition, we burst into wellness. And it's so amazing to watch people with that light bulb when it goes on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And yeah, so to that point, I just wanted to, because you touched on this, and I underlined this in your book because I just thought it was so important for people. So you wrote this book, the To Be a Shaman, or Be Your Own Shaman, with your younger son,
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah.
But so just from your bio, from Jane's bio, it says she believes it is our right as humans to be vibrantly healthy, that if given the right tools, our body knows how to heal, and that each of us is responsible for ourselves and the love, joy, and spiritual and physical health we experience. That's just really powerful. And I love that it's our right as humans to be vibrantly healthy. Like
Yeah.
that's right there. The body wants that, and we want that obviously, but we need to learn how to best achieve that. And so what are your well, I mean, clearly plants are your tool, but like what do you recommend for people who are just like on the verge? Like I'm really curious, I don't really know where to start. Like I can't jump in, full on. But what would you recommend for someone to get started? Like,
Yeah, okay, so this is actually, it's so much simpler than people know. My favorite place to tell people to start is to start incorporating herbal teas. A good herbal tea. Find the teas you like, start researching the ones that are good for certain things. Like I mentioned, peppermint tea is really good for digestion. So if you're used to having a glass of wine or a soda or even a glass of juice or a glass of milk or whatever for dinner, start swapping that out for a cup of peppermint tea with your meal. And you're gonna immediately start improving your digestion. But there's also things like dandelion root tea, which is actually really good. That's really, really good for your liver. It supports it, it nourishes, it detoxes, and it's delicious. So it's just a matter of saying, okay, I'm going to start incorporating tea into my diet. And you might just think, oh, that's lovely. It might taste good, but there's so much more to tea than meets the eye. So to me, that's the easiest place to start. And then the second, I always tell people, look at the spices that you put on your food. Cayenne pepper, turmeric, rosemary, thyme, basil. Okay, we all like to cook with these things because it flavors our food.
mhm.
But if we instead go, okay, I'm going to get these as fresh as I can. Because if you're going to be getting, like cayenne pepper is one of my very favorite herbs. And people use a lot of it, but if you have some ground up cayenne pepper sitting in your spice cupboard and you've had it for
Right.
a year, a couple years, it might still flavor your food, but the chances that it's going to give you all the benefits, which are not just digestion, but metabolism, it's good for your heart, it's a vasodilator. There are so many beautiful things about cayenne pepper that you need to make sure and get it fresh. So look at your spices. It's like grinding up fresh peppercorns onto your food because then you're releasing all of the properties. Um, so get things as fresh as you can and just start cooking with these things. Like if you notice in the book, Amy, there's a bunch of plants in there that are very, very common. A list of all the things I talked about, like ginger, turmeric, rosemary, thyme, oregano, all of these things. So I want people to know these are actually really powerful medicinals that you might not be realizing that you're using.
I love that tip of just freshening up your herbs. Like
Yeah,
that's such a
easy.
cool, it's such an easy thing for sure. I mean, and when you go to the grocery store or whatever, you can get those little packaged ones
Yeah.
or you can even grow them.
And you can get like a basil plant. Like have you seen the basil plants? You can just get a basil plant and put it in your kitchen. And that's a really super fun, easy way to start adding some freshness to your food.
Right. And so that you're getting the medicinal benefits, but also, my goodness, the freshness is just it's going to explode.
Yeah.
I have a question though. So when you were talking about teas,
Mhm.
I assume when you say teas, you mean like fresh herbs or dried herbs and not like the herbal teas that you buy at the grocery store? Or does that
Well, so you can make your own teas, but I don't think that's most people who are just starting to I don't even make I do some of my own teas, but very rare.
Oh, okay.
I have a really good source for organic tea. I buy my tea in bulk because like I do yerba mate every morning. I
Right.
do dandelion root tea. There's a liver detox tea that's got like 7 or 8 different herbs in it. And there's a company, I'm not affiliated with them at all, but I've been buying their bulk teas for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
It's a company called Star West Botanicals, and they're in California. I've been buying tea from them by the pound. So, and they're fresh, they're organic, and because I drink so much tea, you don't have to buy it by the pound because when you buy a
Right.
pound of tea bags from
Lot.
these guys, you get like 250 tea bags. So I'll get that sometimes and share with my sister, a couple of my sisters we share.
Right. Okay.
If
So
you
it's not
have
necessary to use fresh herbs.
No, it's not. That's why it's like, okay, do something, make sure it's organic. If
Yep.
you can, organic is very important. Organic or wild crafted. That
Mhm.
means, wild crafted is out where it grows in its own environment. And then you're golden. And your options are, I don't like to buy tea in the grocery store because and that's still a good option for people, but
Right.
you get like 12 little tea bags and you pay like $7 to $12. And to me, because I drink so much tea, I'm looking for a good deal.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Okay, well that's a great easy start. And I did have another question actually about tea. So you had mentioned the peppermint tea, and does that go the same with all mints, or is it specifically peppermint?
no, the mints do have a special affinity for your digestive system.
Okay.
So a lot of it depends on what you like. Now, there's a really cool plant that is in the mint family. It's called holy basil. But it is good for digestion, but it's a really powerful adaptogen. So it helps an adaptogen will help balance body chemistry, help your body realize you're not in fight or flight, you're just dealing with modern stress. So it helps with hormonal balance. But holy basil is in the mint family, and it is actually more of a specific as an adaptogen. So it will help with digestion, but there are mints like peppermint, spearmint, catnip. Those are really good for digestion. So yeah, mints are famous for that.
Okay. I mean, I have a homegrown mint. I think it's called apple mint, and
Okay.
it smells very spearminty. And
Nice,
I love
nice.
that. But I was like, ooh, I should ask while I have you on the line.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for
does it
sure.
matter which mint? But I do enjoy that a lot.
That's awesome.
Those are great starter tips. I love the idea of just fresher herbs and spices. Um, that does seem like a really good sort of entry
Yeah,
point. And okay, so that's a great start. So some herbal teas and fresher herbs, fresh as
yeah,
you can, because I'm sure that the potency dwindles as it ages and sits in a dish or a container.
yeah. And like I said, unless you tincture something, then like I tincture cayenne pepper as well as I take it in capsule form, but I do put it in a tincture.
Mm.
And then I can put it into a little glass of water and just chug it down. And it's, like I said, it's so good for so many things. And so that will preserve it. A tincture will preserve it. And a tincture is an alcohol-based extraction of a plant. So
Okay, that's good to know.
yeah.
And then I didn't think about the making. So you tincture and then you put it into capsules?
So they're two separate things. I have capsules of cayenne pepper, fresh cayenne pepper, but then I also will tincture my cayenne because in liquid form, it goes in and absorbs, it goes right to the bloodstream. And I have this little drink I like to do in the morning. So I've got my yerba mate tea, and while it's steeping, then I always hydrate with like a quart jar of water, and I squeeze the juice from half of a lemon. I put a squirt of cayenne pepper, and then I put a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and it's a quart. And I just basically, that's my hydration in the morning, and it wakes everything up. It wakes up your metabolism, it wakes up your digestion, and then you're giving your body the signal when you first get up in the morning that it's important to you. And it also wakes you up. Like think about, and then it wakes everything up, and even your digestion as it comes out the other side. It wakes up that part of your digestion too. So it's just that's a habit I've been doing for decades. So
Wow.
yeah, really good.
And now this is might sound kind of dumb, but I'm okay being the asker of the dumb questions. So I have thought about getting like a spice grinder type of thing. Um, but I'm so afraid that I'm going to use one spice that's going to just like make everything taste like that. Do they clean well?
Well,
How
so
do you do like a mortar or pestle? Pestle?
no, I have a little coffee, like electric coffee grinder, and those clean really, really well. I do have a mortar and pestle, but I don't use it. But
Okay.
I use a little electric coffee grinder that I only use for my herbs.
Right. Okay.
So, and it cleans really well. And sometimes I don't care if there's some dried oregano in there and
Yeah.
I don't, so it just depends on what it is, but
Right. I mean, my concern is just like mixing the flavors, like, turmeric is intense.
turmeric is intense. My favorite way to do turmeric is the fresh roots. I have I call it an inflammation shot.
Hmm.
So I get fresh turmeric roots, fresh ginger root, and I peel them and then I chop them in chunks. I throw them in a blender with a little bit of water and then I blend it and then I squeeze some fresh lemons and some fresh orange juice. So I have the juice of these two lemons and limes or lemons and oranges. And then I grind up the little bit of water with the fresh ginger and turmeric. And then I pour it in, I strain it into the juices and it's an inflammation shot. So it's fresh ginger,
Right.
fresh turmeric root, and then I keep about a quart of it in my fridge and just take a shot of it every day. And I have to wear gloves, otherwise I have yellow hands
Hello, for sure.
by 4 or 5 days.
I mean, I use those for fire cider. I make my own fire cider. So,
Oh, nice.
but
Nice.
it's really intense.
It is. But that's kind of shows you that's where the medicine is, right? If something is so intense, it's like ginger.
Yeah.
Ginger is just, oh, so good.
Yeah. I tried making those little, so I saw all my great tips come from Instagram, but somebody was doing like your morning, the shot, your what do you call it?
Just to hydrate my quart of hydration,
Yeah.
my quart jar.
Well, you were saying with the ginger and the turmeric and the
Oh, it's an
orange
inflammation
lemon
shot.
inflammation shot. Okay, that's what it
Yeah.
was. I saw a thing like that and somebody made that, but then it was like a liquid and then they froze it. And I was like, ooh, I'm so gonna do that. They froze it in
Ah,
like ice cube trays.
good
And I'm like,
idea.
that's so smart. I'm so gonna do that. And when I did it, it was like this paste. And I'm like, I didn't do it right. I don't know what I did.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I've never tried that.
But I didn't use orange juice and lemon juice. I used the lemon and the orange, and I think it was just too much.
Oh, too much pulp.
Yeah.
Hey, at least you
I broke
tried.
it.
That's great.
Yeah, I tried. I'll have to try that again because it's a really smart idea. And I know inflammation is such a big it's such a big thing for a lot of illnesses and health issues. So that's super helpful. And I just love the idea. I'm trying to grow ginger and turmeric, but they're really slow going.
They are. And the roots are when you harvest it, you're pulling up the plant. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so that's super helpful. I love that idea. And the idea of doing that first thing in the morning, like you're just, waking the whole body up and getting, starting in a good space. And I assume that helps all throughout the day, just getting
It does.
started.
Well, and I think we're just chronically dehydrated. I even though this is something I pay attention to, I still have to just constantly remind myself during the day just to drink water, drink pure water.
Yep.
So it's a constant thing. We need to remember that we're biology. We need to remember we're mostly water.
Right. You
It's
have to
like,
replenish.
okay.
I know. I think about I drink more when it's hot, but when it's cold, I'm like,
This is where teas come in, especially if you don't sweeten them or add them to milk. If you want to sweeten your tea or any beverage, get a little bit of stevia. Stevia is in the book. It's a plant, sugar plant. The leaves are where all this, it's a sweet, and you can get like my favorite way to get stevia, besides grow it in my yard, is there's a little packet you can get called stevia in the raw. They
Mhm.
also have it in the grocery store, you can even get it, but it's a really nice way to sweeten your tea if that's what you have to have. And it's a plant. It's from the stevia plant. So
Yeah. And you grow it in your house at your yard?
I don't currently grow it in my yard. My yard is full of so many things. It's like
Boom.
stevia is actually so I'm in Utah and we're getting ready to plant our stuff, and I actually started some stevia from seeds. So I've got some stevia, little tiny sprouts so we'll see. We'll see if they make it. So
Okay, that's really cool.
yeah,
Can you use like straight leaves, like stevia leaves, or does
yeah,
that like just put
sure,
that in your tea or something?
sure, 100%.
Has
Let them
if it has
steep
that
in
same
there.
effect?
Yeah, besides they're full of good nutrition, they will naturally sweeten foods that you'd like to, especially drinks. Really good for drinks. It's actually nice if you're gonna indulge and have like a mojito with the mint, put a little bit of stevia in there too, some of the leaves from the stevia. Really yummy.
Oh, and you'd
Yeah.
never know. You wouldn't know the difference unless you ate it.
Yeah, well, and stevia is actually a delicious plant. But I don't know. I eat dandelion greens right out of my yard. So let's be honest, I'm an odd duck, you know?
You and 13 others at least in your family.
Indeed. They're all not as hardcore as me, but it's okay.
They don't all have books.
No, they do not, but they're very proud of me because I actually my book so my dad wrote a book when I was in high school called From the Shepherd's Purse that had 48 plants in it, and it's been out of print for decades. And so I took the 48 plants, I put them into Be Your Own Shaman, I doubled the content and I updated all the pictures. And so if you look in, I'm sure maybe if you saw the first of it, there's a little bit of a legacy to my dad, thank you for inspiring me. And so I updated his book and doubled the content. So all my siblings are grateful that I'm the one that I've carried on his work. And so it's pretty cool. I never dreamed it would be me, but here we are.
Here we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your son is taking that on as well, so that's fun.
Yeah.
Does
And
he
my granddaughter's interested.
love it?
She's 14. So that'll be fourth generation, which is cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in Utah?
I grew up in Idaho.
Okay.
I was born in Utah. My parents met at college, and I was born in Provo, Utah, where they met. And then we moved up to Idaho, and that's where a few more siblings were born up there, and that's where we grew up. So,
Gotcha.
yeah,
So you ended up back home.
indeed.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So we can start with teas and we can start with fresher spices and we can, maybe think about that inflammation shot because inflammation is a really big part of a lot of health issues that I'm learning about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of surprising.
So it might just be like um, it's just a really good place to start. I'm not going to say it's like a cure-all because it's definitely not, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah. Because it can be intimidating. Like you said in the beginning, it's like, where do I start? And, you know, but I think we need to remember, and I don't know if we said this, but most of the world still turns to plant medicine first.
Mm-hmm.
In the West here, we've fallen off the wagon. We need to remember that we are connected to the earth. We're connected, and my hope is that people will start to grow things in their gardens or their windowsills, or if you live in an apartment, get a few pots and put them on your balcony and just start. That's a good connection to Mother Nature, is remember that this is what, we are part of the earth. This
Right.
is, you know,
We should have that nearby because it's good for our health and it's a good reminder also.
yeah,
Love that. I love that.
yeah.
Um, and so anything else on that I mean, clearly get the book and look outside and see what's available and see what's surrounding you. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on the like around the book or around herbs or how people can
You know what I think? I think that my biggest goal is not just start doing herbs and using herbs, but we need to look at our health as more holistic. It's not just about, okay, I'm going to take a bunch of herbs, even if I get some really high quality herbal supplements, because you can't cover up a bad lifestyle or poor diet with herbs or anything. So I think we need to like really start looking at the way we walk through the world. How much stress do you have? How much sleep do you get? How much connection with others in person without your technology do you get? Because one of the things that provides longevity and health for us as human beings is purpose and connection. We need to have purpose. We need to connect with other people. We need to get outside. We need to get our bare feet on the ground and ground ourselves. So there's a part of being a human being that is holistic. And it's not just, how much movement do you get? How much exercise? How much walking? Like we just have so many beautiful conveniences and technology that is here for us to make our lives better and easier, and we think more connectivity, but we're reaching a point where I think that we need to start leaving our cell phone at home when we go out to dinner with friends. So not even take it with you to the restaurant, unless you're on call or you've got to connect with your kids at home. I'm not talking about those kind of things. We need to get back to more holistic living.
Be present in what you're doing.
Yes, all of that stuff. So, I think my biggest message is we're here for this experience. And if our avatar, this physical body, is not healthy, we can't fully enjoy the experience we have. And it's multifaceted. It's not just, like I said, you take a bunch of herbs and you're going to be great. No, no, no. That's icing on the top, in my opinion.
Right.
The other things are they all need to be a part of the whole equation.
Right. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that a lot. That's a good lesson. It's a good,
Yeah.
it's a good thing to just be mindful of, for sure. So Jane, when I say the word sustainability to you, what does that mean, like, for you personally?
Well, I think it means taking responsibility for yourself and your family, and at a base level for yourself, which it can extend to your family, especially if you've got a spouse or a partner or young children or whoever you're responsible for. But I've seen a real movement toward people who are realizing, I love that you have chickens, because I think sustainability to me means I'm going to, potentially have an animal that can provide eggs for me or food or milk or whatever. I can grow things in my yard, in my garden, that can help my health. And to me, that is what sustainability means, is I'm not going to depend on someone in another country to provide something for me that's going to keep me healthy. I think we need to move things back to a local level. Like, one of the things I love about the street I live on is that we've been in this neighborhood for 15 years, and everybody has gardens and fruit trees, and one of my neighbors about 6 years ago started growing grapevines to make his own wine. And I don't drink alcohol, but it's really cool because he shares with the people on the street, and we all share. Like,
Right.
one lady, she's one of my neighbors, her squash turns out every year better than anybody else's on the street. I have this big apricot tree and this big peach tree. So sustainability means neighborhoods, communities, local, sharing our abundance with everybody. And what happens is, if the world, as it's very chaotic at the moment, keeps getting chaotic till things settle down or whatever that looks like, we can take care of
each other.
ourselves
Yep.
and each other. So that's what sustainability means to me.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I've said it a million times on the podcast, but I heard this phrase once, and I put it on a sticky note right behind my computer that says community sufficiency.
Yes.
I get the whole self-sufficiency, and that sounds well and good, but wouldn't it be more fun if it wasn't just you against the world?
Yeah.
Like, taking care of each other, like that, just, it sounds so wholesome and beautiful, and then you don't have to do everything. Like, you can do some,
Well,
everyone else
and
can take a part.
we're pack animals. We need each other.
Yeah.
It's all about community. Yeah.
Well, and I love that you've got those connections with your neighbors. Like, everyone doesn't have neighbors that they can do that with, but That's
You
so
need to
great
put
that you have
yourself
that.
out there. I think people need to go knock on the door of their neighbor and introduce themselves. You know, we've just gotten into our own little world. We've got all of our technology and we got all of our, some people, I have a brother who lives in Arizona and him and his wife both own their own business. So they have a 15-year-old daughter and they are so busy that they don't even grocery shop for themselves. And I have no judgment for their lifestyle, but
Right.
they get everything delivered to them.
You just don't see people that often.
Yeah, so they're so busy running their businesses, which they both have an office out of their home,
Right.
that it's, and I think that, you know, it's working for them, but anytime I visit them, I just kind of go, oh, I can't imagine not even picking out my own bananas at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like literally that's how far they take it. And it's, so I just think there's got to be a balance. And I don't think what they're doing is sustainable as far as for their own mental health and and he's younger. He's 15 years younger than me. So he's he's still figuring it out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's sort of my lifestyle. Like I work from home and then I have the
Yeah.
podcast. And so I'm
Yeah.
home a lot, but I make sure to go out and, I do my own grocery shopping. I always chat with people and they're probably like, who is this weird lady? Like, she's so chatty, but like, I don't see people that often. So I just really embrace
Yeah,
that.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, I love that. And I want to live in your neighborhood because that just sounds like so much fun.
It is. Okay, well, come on out. We're kind of far across from where you are.
I lived in Utah for a year. I could do it again.
Oh, you did? Where?
I lived in Provo.
That's so cool. That's where I was born.
Oh, just 1 year. Just 1 year. It was literally the most fun year that I've had in my whole life.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I love that.
Uh, but so if someone is interested in getting into herbs or, learning about plant medicine, if they want to follow you and learn more about, all the great things that you're offering, what's the best way that someone can find you?
So I have a website, barlowherbal.com. I also have a YouTube channel, which is Barlow Herbal. And every Thursday I drop an herbal wisdom video.
Oh,
So I talk about the properties, I talk about where it grows, can you cultivate it? So every Thursday I drop a herbal wisdom video. So I'm very easy to find. And also Instagram and Facebook, Barlow Herbal. So super easy to find. And then I'm so grateful my book got picked up by a publisher and it's on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. So
that's awesome.
yeah,
I think
really
it would be
cool.
so fun for you to like play your dad and be like, like have your Thursday video just be like, "Er, pull the car over and hey, you guys."
You know, that's actually a really cute idea. I should do that with my grandkids. I should throw them in the car while,
Oh
while
my
they would,
gosh, yeah.
right? While they would still do it. Like my granddaughter's reaching a point where she's kind of too cool for that.
Well,
But
the one
that's a
one
great
that's
idea.
at least. Like this is how I grew up.
That's actually a really great idea. I do tell them some of the stories, but yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a great idea.
I love that. That's got to be such a great memory for you. And it's super fun for me just to imagine how that would
Yeah.
be. But thank you so much. This has been so enlightening and so fun. I love your energy. I love your wisdom. It's so and it's so natural and profound. And I'm so grateful for this time with you, Jane.
Oh, thank you, Amy. Yeah, I think I always connect with the people I'm supposed to. Because
Same.
at the end of the day, we're all one. We're all one collective of beautiful humanity.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And to me, that's the best part about modern technology is that you're across the country from where I am and we get to connect.
Mhm.
And this
What are
is
the
like
chances? Like this would not have happened.
no, no. So yeah, and I love what you're doing, the whole sustainability. Like this is the world, this is what the world needs is more information and more education and more inspiration, right?
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Cool. Well, thanks for being part of it. My goodness.
Well, thank you. I'm at a point where I just want to share what I do so that I just want to, it's like if I can light a little fire under somebody to go, oh, I'm going to do this one thing different, then mission is accomplished, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Well, and you've given us some really great, like a great easy start to, just to start thinking about it. And then you start feeling better and you're like, ooh, that really works. Like, I'm going to try something else now.
Exactly.
I'm going to get that book and I'm going to learn all about it.
Yeah, well, and I made it where I really wanted it to be easy to look at and to I didn't want people to open it up and go, oh, this is too
So
dense.
overwhelming. Yes.
Yeah, it's like I wanted any person to be able to open it and be inspired to start using some of these things.
Right.
So,
Yes, for sure. All right. Jane Barlow Christensen, you guys, check her out. Follow her on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are, Barlow Herbal. And check out the Thursday. What do you call that on Thursday on YouTube?
Herbal Wisdom Thursdays.
Wisdom Thursdays.
Yeah,
Okay.
every Thursday I just drop a video on YouTube, and then I also drop it on Rumble because quite a few people are over on Rumble now. So
I have never heard of Rumble. I feel so out of the loop now.
it's just like YouTube, but it's called Rumble.
Oh wow. How about that?
So
Yeah, and definitely check out the book, you guys, because wow, it's so cool. And it's so, what she was saying, like it's so important. It matters what time you're collecting and what time of the year you're looking for it and stuff like that. And you'll get pictures. It has great pictures here. I'll show you. This is the plan to go that I was looking at. So this is a little blurry, but you get the picture, right? It's got the little spikies and the curly leaves. But nice big picture so you can tell it apart from other things, and all kinds of information on it. So check it out, y'all. I just want to take a second to thank my guest again for speaking with me and sharing such great information. I love having these conversations with folks. I also want to thank Buzzsprout for hosting the podcast, for Jane Bolduck and her music genius, for Becca Coffron and her award-winning artwork. And thank you for listening. I appreciate that so much. Please check out the show notes for any links and extra information. And if you would like to follow my guest and find out more about them, I'm sure they would love the follow. And if you don't mind leaving a rating or review wherever you're listening, and just help to get this podcast in front of new eyes, that would be amazing. I would really love that. And feel free to reach out to me on the socials and let me know what you're thinking. And if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please let me know that. I would love to have a conversation with you about sustainability. All right. Thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of the week.
There'll come a day, my mama told me, when I find love to have and hold me, a heart that's strong and so sincere. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? Oh, tell me, how do I get there from here? 'Cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. light of grace has finally found me. Well, there'll be music, ooh, and good friends around me, and I'll just smile through happy tears and wonder